This area chart illustrates a massive flaw in the U.S. healthcare system, a $40 billion deficit expanding year after year. That is the amount of uncompensated care hospitals are forced to simply write off every 12 months. To understand where that number comes from, look at a single typical case. A patient going through cancer treatments receives a $60,000 oncology bill. Overwhelmed by the cost of surviving, the patient defaults. The hospital, unable to collect, packages that unpaid bill and sells it off to third-party debt collectors. This block represents the original $60,000 bill, but when sold as bad debt, it quickly shrinks down to a tiny sliver. The hospital recovers a meager $600, losing up to 99% of the original value. The patient faces aggressive collection calls and a ruined credit score, while the hospital hemorrhages the operating margins it relies on to keep its doors open. Value is destroyed at every step. A system meant to support life instead drains wealth from the people receiving care and the institutions providing it. Yet, across the country, billions of dollars in philanthropic grants, pharmaceutical manufacturer programs, and government aid are sitting in accounts explicitly earmarked to pay these exact medical bills. The money remains untouched because connecting it to the right person is incredibly difficult. Every single program has highly specific requirements based on a patient's precise medical diagnosis, income bracket, and demographic profile. Navigating this maze of applications requires hundreds of hours. Hospitals do not have the budget to staff massive departments dedicated to tracking down charity care, and critically ill patients do not have the physical energy or deep industry knowledge to do it themselves. The capital is there. The patients need it. But the sheer volume of fragmented rules creates a massive data bottleneck, trapping the supply of funds far away from the demand. Advocait was engineered specifically to bridge this gap. They started by mapping the ecosystem, identifying over 17,000 distinct, validated sources of healthcare financial aid, scattered across thousands of disconnected websites and PDFs. To make sense of this, they deployed custom machine learning agents. These models continuously scour the web, extract obscure eligibility rules, and automatically structure them into a single, continuously expanding knowledge base. Looking at this radar chart, you can see how a patient's specific financial and medical profile is instantly cross-referenced in a database. The AI instantly locks onto the exact aid opportunities with the highest probability of approval. What previously required days of tedious, manual searching by a human clerk is compressed into an instantaneous, frictionless data query. Surfacing the right charity program is only the first step. Actually securing the funds requires submitting complex paperwork, verifying income, and attaching specific medical records. To handle this, Advocait uses a hybrid workflow. They pair their automated, cloud-based machine learning models with a team of dedicated human advocates. The algorithm identifies the optimal path, and then a real person steps in to guide the patient through the final application process, ensuring every document is filed correctly so the claim gets approved. For the patient, this entire concierge service costs absolutely nothing, completely removing the financial anxiety from their recovery process. The sheer volume of the debt requires algorithms to sort the data, but getting a vulnerable person across the finish line still requires human empathy. Since the patients pay nothing, the platform's revenue is tied entirely to the hospitals that benefit from the recovered funds. When a hospital signs on, they pay zero upfront software fees and zero subscription costs. This split bar illustrates the model in action. Out of a fully recovered $60,000 bill, the hospital keeps the vast majority of the revenue. Advocait takes a modest 9 to 15% performance fee only on the dollars they successfully secure. Because there is no financial risk for the hospital to try the software, the typical months-long procurement process vanishes. The company only makes a profit when a patient's medical debt is completely erased. When you extrapolate those unit economics out across a national hospital network, the business model scales rapidly. Projecting to year 3 with 600 hospitals onboarded, this chart shows contingency fees generating $69 million in annual revenue. That flat line at the bottom represents operating expenses. The AI engine absorbs manual labor, driving gross margins to 78%. By stripping emotion from the search process and treating medical debt strictly as a data routing problem, they built a highly profitable software company.
Hospitals protect their operating margins, and patients can finally stop worrying about bankruptcy and put all their energy into getting better.